We wait for Mike to get his thing fixed there. As Mike kind of mentioned there, we are not going to hear in this trial from those other three officers. And that's significant in a couple different ways. And because they are also charged, they have a right not to self-incriminate. And, you know, we don't know how it would have gone if they were allowed to testify here. Would they throw Chauvin under the bus? I mean, I can guarantee if Chauvin's convicted here and they stand trial in August, that it sure would help their case if they put the blame on Chauvin rather than on themselves. And so it's interesting when you think about what this would be like if these officers were coming in, trying to explain themselves, and whether, you know, it could go one of two ways. They could try to defend Chauvin, and then the prosecution would be trying to poke holes in that as they question them, or they could you know, put a little bit of blame on him to make themselves look better, and then that would really hurt his case if his coworkers were not siding with him. But that's just something that we're not going to know, and so those officers will not testify. We will be able to see their body camera videos and hear everything that's said on those, but we don't get to hear them testify, and we don't get to hear their interviews with the BCA where they were interrogated afterwards.
Yeah, and I'd love to get Mike's perspective on that in just a bit, Mike. But first, let's go back to the question I asked you earlier. So jurors are going to get different perspectives on how they heard Chauvin's voice for the first time today in that recording with McMillan when he interacted with him. So let's talk a little bit about when people say he was calm or he was cold-blooded. What did you gain from that video and how Chauvin's response was to McMillan?
Well, I was kind of startled in the sense of the way he was so calm after what had happened. Yeah, a lot of people, a jury at the beginning of the trial, when they were listening to openings, had to have at some point started to create an image in their head of who Chauvin is, who Floyd is, even though Floyd's not a party in the case. He, as victim, is the person who was killed, is an important part of the case. They started to build those things. So when they suddenly saw a video, that either reinforced what they already thought about it, or it blew it up in ways. You know, they came up with a different view on what Floyd is. The first time they hear Chauvin, and again, it may be the only time they hear Chauvin, if Chauvin doesn't testify, that's going to be important to them if they've created an image in their head on the way Chauvin is, or if they're thinking, geez, I don't really know what was going on with this guy, and now suddenly, boom, they hear his voice talking to somebody, and kind of given the explanation of, well, you know, he could have been on drugs and we were trying to control him. And so that is going to be one of those things that I think maybe a point where jurors will look back to, or in their deliberations will be important to them.
Okay, Mike, I'm just taking a quick look at the note from the pool reporter who's inside the courtroom this afternoon. The first note, I'll read one of them and then I'll let you react to that, and then I'll read the next one here as well. This person says that when they resume playing the graphic video this time, 3 jurors, one of them who appears to be the black woman who is the grandmother, and a 4th juror do not watch. They stare straight ahead. And then it says, Chauvin alternately takes notes and then looks up, his head tilted slightly to the right, and he intently watches the video of himself killing Floyd. That's what the reporter said in the note. So your thoughts on, you know, just a little insight into what the jury looks like and what Chauvin looks like during that intense part of the testimony and the video being played.
Well, it's kind of tough to decide what jurors are watching, what they're not watching. I mean, I don't know if jurors somehow have eyes in the back of their head or what, because sometimes when you think jurors aren't paying attention to certain things, you find out later they really did know, or they really did intently listen to all that, or they really did take it in. Chauvin's, the way he's actively taking part in this trial, that'll be interesting to see if the jurors make anything of that or not. I mean, I personally think with what he's facing, with the charges against him, it makes all the sense in the world that he's active in his own trial. I mean, he's the one that's been charged, and you, as a defendant, I would assume you'd want to be part of it as much as you can be. You know, if he doesn't watch it and looks remorseful, or if he doesn't watch it and looks like he doesn't care, I think that sends a worse message. So, I don't know how much time they spent with him, talking to him about, look, this is the way you got to be during trial, so that they see that you're watching everything and you're interested in all the evidence and you're a part of everything that took place. That's sometimes one of the discussions that can be had with clients.
What do you think he's taking notes on? Everybody's noticing that he's constantly writing in his notepad.
Well, you take notes on all sorts of things. I mean, I've looked at notes from clients. Well, you look at notes sometimes that are just doodles, that are just stuff that people write down because they are bored and they just want to do something. And other times they're writing down important notes that they're giving their defense or are giving to their counsel. In this case, who happens to be the defense attorney. Now, it's interesting because, any barriers that sometimes lawyers set up between them and their clients have been taken care of by COVID, because you have a barrier that's there. But it could be about the trial. It could be about all sorts of things. Who knows?
Okay. G and I were speaking a little bit about the fact that the other officers who are charged in the death of George Floyd will not be testifying in this case. And
right.
How does that create a different dynamic than what might have otherwise existed? How does that make this different?
Well, the reason why the prosecution wanted all of them together was so that they could have them all in the courtroom, and if somebody testified, they could have them testify in the case, and they could do everything all together. For COVID reasons, I think is probably the biggest reason, but could also have been other things that the Judge Cahill was looking at. It's decided that their case will be in August. We won't hear from them, and whether or not the jury will make something of that or have some opinion about that, I don't know. A lot of it will depend on, I guess there's always a possibility that one of them could plead out and testify during the trial, but I don't see that happening as of yet, or I don't see any signs or hear any signs of that.
And Mike, what are your thoughts on what was said during this trial with Derick Chauvin and the other testimonies that have really involved Officer Tutau? How does that impact the trial in August, or his trial in August, or some of the others? Will some of these testimonies be used then, or how does it work?
Well, the witnesses have to be consistent. So if someone says something now, that's the free look that the lawyers that have the trial in August get, is they're able to watch all of this. They're able to see, one, if Chauvin's convicted of something that you have aiding and abetting with. Because if Chauvin's only convicted of manslaughter, you don't get aiding and abetting with manslaughter. So they get to, see whether or not he's convicted of something you get aiding and abetting with as a charge. Two, there's been an attempt, prosecution's trying to bring third degree against them. They'll be able to figure out what happens with third degree by that time. And then third thing is they get a kind of free swing with witnesses, because they're either going to know exactly what they're going to say, or if they say something different, they'll be able to use what they say here against them. Because the testimony that any witness gives now is under oath. There's a difference between the statements they give, which aren't under oath. You don't swear that you'll tell the truth in a statement. You're supposed to, but you don't. You're not swearing that you're going to tell the truth. But when you're on the stand, you are swearing to tell the truth. So they can use that under oath testimony against them because they were under oath at the same time.
So one specific example from all of that. So Officer Thomas Lane was the one that twice said, "Should we roll him over?" And you can hear it on the body camera video. So when they play those, the jury will hear that. However, he was then interrogated by the BCA with his attorney present a couple days later. And then in that case, he explained it a little further, and he gave a little more context of why he said that and what he was thinking when he said that. That's what the jury's not going to hear. Is there a way to make up for that in this trial so that so the jury knows about that?
Well, no, not in a way that you can get it in, and so it's not seen as evidence that's admissible. So you can't bring in the evidence separate, from in that basis. So you'll get what he said on the video. I think for them, it's going to be the other police officers. I think it's going to be far more relevant that you had a crowd that was standing around saying, "Hey, this guy's dying." I mean, when you just heard that last witness saying, from what he's saying, I think he's dying. I think that's where it's going to go to the point of, if they could see it, why couldn't you guys see it?
You know, there was one thing that Eric Nelson said in one of his questions yesterday, and I perked up when I heard it because I was wondering if it's something he's going to go back to as far as his defense. He asked about the term tunnel vision, and it was difficult to tell for sure if he was implying that maybe Derick Chauvin had tunnel vision, or if he was trying to say to the EMT firefighter witness that maybe she had tunnel vision. But then again, there was a couple of times where Eric Nelson is alluding to the crowd, and the officers are worried about the crowd around him, and he's alluded that he's worried about, or alluded that the ambulance did not arrive as quickly as they might have expected it. Are those all hints toward what his defense is here, and what we're going to see in like a closing argument?
Potentially. It also may be setting up some things for his expert. I mean, they've got expert reports, so they've got an idea what their expert's going to say, but it may be laying foundation, you know, for some opinion that the expert's going to give later on about, you know, this person's action or that person's action.
Thank you so much, Mike. And court is back in session, so we'll go back there.
Your Honor, the state calls Jeff Rugel.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give away the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir, I do.
Let's see. And before you begin, if you could give us your full name, spelling each of your names.
James Jeffrey Rugel, James Jeffrey, Rugel, Rugel.
Mr. Slisher.
Can I take these off?
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Is it Officer Rugel?
Lieutenant Rugel,
Lieutenant Rugel. And what law enforcement agency are you with?
Minneapolis Police Department.
And how long have you been employed by the Minneapolis Police Department?
Just under 32 years.
And you indicated that you're a lieutenant. How long have you held that rank?
Since 2000.
Before you talk a little bit about yourself, you understand that you've been called here today as sort of a foundational witness. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Your personal involvement in this case is somewhat limited, and we're going to be offering various video evidence through you. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Right. And so what are your present duties with the Minneapolis Police Department, Lieutenant?
I manage the Police Business Technology Unit.
And what is that?
Myself and my staff basically manage the technology equipment, software, systems that officers use on patrol and investigations anywhere they're doing their job.
Tell the jury a little bit about some of these systems and software and tools that you use.
For example, we have a records management system where all of our police reports are kept. And so my staff manages that system along with a software vendor. We use surveillance video, for example, surveillance cameras around the city. We manage accounts for that, advise on where cameras should be, and make sure the system's working. The city uses body cameras for patrol officers and investigators. We manage the body camera program, including the video storage, which is through a cloud-based vendor, but all of the policies and stuff are enforced through our system administrators, which are part of my staff.
Fair to say, as a police department, the department generates a lot of data.
Very much, yes.
Both the written documents, video, audio, and all of these things need to be collected and stored and be able to be retrieved in a way that can be associated with a case number. Is that right?
Correct.
Before stepping into the business technology unit, I'd like you to share with the jury a little bit about your career at the Minneapolis Police Department. When did you begin?
I started in 1989 as a patrol officer, worked as a patrol officer for several years. was promoted to sergeant and worked as an investigator doing gang cases, gun trafficking, and narcotics. Was promoted to lieutenant in 2000, and as a lieutenant I've served as a patrol lieutenant supervising a shift of officers on the street at a couple of postings. Served in this business technology job, and I also was the manager of our Strategic Information Center for about 8 years.
And I'd like to, for purposes of starting here, focus on that assignment with the Strategic Information Center. So could you please describe to the jury what the Strategic Information Center is?
It's what we call a real-time crime center. So it's a facility where both sworn law enforcement officers and non-sworn analysts work they're monitoring the police radio, they're monitoring cameras, they're looking at calls for service, and looking for ways to assist patrol officers in their job. So that could be anything from hearing that a patrol officer is on the way to an address on a particularly high priority call, looking up the history of that address and being able to send information to an officer so they know more about it before they even arrive. They also do a lot of assistance to investigations, looking for link analysis, trying to find suspects based on nicknames, all sorts of stuff. But they do that 7 days a week, 20 hours a day.
Fair to say, like any other business, things have changed a lot since 1989 when you started in law enforcement.
Yes, quite a bit.
We have much more sophisticated surveillance tools and data storage tools, is that right?
Yes.
When did the Strategic Information Center open?
October of 2010.
What was your involvement in the Strategic Information Center at that point?
I was on the design team that helped to configure the way it was going to work. I was the initial and first manager of the center, so I wrote the standard operating procedures, the policies, sort of created it from the ground up, along with some supervisors that worked for me.
And you served to manage that center until when?
April of 2018.
And that's when you began your position with the Business Technology Unit?
Yes.
Within the Strategic Information Center, what I'd like you to focus on for the jury is the availability of surveillance video throughout the city. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So the city has a network of public safety cameras that are placed at strategic locations all over the city. There's roughly 250, maybe a little more than that now. Typically in high traffic or areas where we expect to see a lot of activity. And those cameras are on 24/7. They're recorded all the time, and they can be monitored both at the Strategic Information Center and from places like precincts, and investigators often can monitor them or retrieve recorded video as needed.
And when you say monitor, you're talking about monitoring in real time.
Sure, you can watch them live. You can move them, if you will, pan, tilt, and zoom the cameras to zoom in on things that are of interest. Or if you know that there's an incident at a location where we have a camera, they can use the camera to try to see what's going on.
And then how do you communicate with other officers who may be on patrol and in need of this information?
There's a number of ways. The primary way would be sending what we call a switch message. So the squads have a computer in the car, and they're operating some software that allows us to send them sort of a direct message that flashes on their screen and can give them updates on the call or any other information. We can also get on the radio if we want to broadcast to a wider group. And then people have cell phones. We can call them if there's something more detailed than what you want to send in a message.
Okay. And that's helpful for monitoring in real time. You also mentioned storage and retrieval of said footage. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, describe, as the designer and former lieutenant of this Strategic Information Center, how the footage is able to be stored, retrieved, and, if possible, associated with a particular case number or event.
Sure. So we use a system called Milestone, which is our enterprise video management system. It's commercial software, but each camera feeds its images into Milestone, and they're recorded on a giant server that just holds video. They stay there for 14 days, and then after 14 days, the video expires and it just goes away. But during that 14 days, the staff at the SIC or investigators can go in and search by date and search by location. So, with the huge number of cameras we have, we can't monitor every camera all the time. There's just not enough people and your eyes would glaze over. So it's very common for an investigator to contact the SIC, the day after an incident and say, hey, will you go find the video from this corner from this time to this time and save it for me, send it to me. And so they will do that, check the area where the incident was, and get the video. It can be downloaded out of the system so that it's no longer subject to that 14-day expiration. And once it's downloaded, it's like any other video file. It's there as long as you have it.
And when you do, or an officer does, download milestone video, and I think the jury's heard that term before already now, milestone video. When they download the milestone video, does that leave any kind of a electronic trail so that you can know who made the request, what case number it was assigned to, and where the incident came from?
The milestone video itself, the system doesn't have case numbers, but when downloading it, usually the file is named, including the case number. And then to store that file, rather than keep it on a person's local computer, they store it in our video cloud storage system, which is called evidence.com. And at that point, it's associated with a case number.
And the whole point of collecting the data, I suppose, is being able to retrieve it and use it both for proactive law enforcement, but also to review as evidence. Is that right?
Yes.
And so is this something that the SIC does, or officers assigned to that unit do in the ordinary course of business?
Yes, very much so.
And upon request here, were you able to review certain business records of the Minneapolis Police Department with which you're familiar to determine whether or not milestone video was requested and downloaded in this case?
Yes.
And when I say this case, you're aware there was an incident that took place on 38th in Chicago on May 25, 2020. Is that right?
Yes.
And was there milestone camera footage taken of the area on the date and around the time of the death of George Floyd?
Yes.
Are you aware that that footage was requested by a Deputy Chief Eric Fors in connection with this investigation?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury what he specifically requested?
I believe he wanted video from the camera at 38th in Chicago from about 7 p.m. till, I'm not sure how late, maybe 11 p.m.
And based on your review of the records, was that video footage obtained?
Yes.
And that was obtained by a Minneapolis police officer by the name of Dean Kriegel. Is that right?
Yes. He was a sergeant at the SIC.
Okay. And the milestone footage with the incident that you just described, is that under Minneapolis Police Department case number 2020-140629?
Yes.
And that footage was exported and then uploaded into the MPD's evidence.com site for later retrieval. Is that right?
Yes.
And do you know when, based on your review, the case was uploaded? That footage was uploaded?
Yes.
It was at 12:50 a.m. on May 26, 2020?
I believe so, yes.
And you reviewed this footage yourself, is that right?
I have.
When did you review it?
I actually reviewed it the day after the incident to see if there was video available.
Now, can the milestone footage, does the milestone footage include a date and time stamp embedded in it?
Yes.
And based on your experience using this footage, are the date and time stamps accurate?
They're very close to the same time as what would be on your phone or anywhere else.
Okay. And can those date and time stamps be changed or altered by the user?
No, one of the reasons we use Milestone is because when you download video using Milestone, it creates a sort of a secure package that includes a player and the video, and it can't be broken up, altered.
Okay. Now, we asked you to review some of this footage, and you're aware that we've had footage excerpted and marked and are offering it as various exhibits. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, I'd like to draw your attention then to Exhibit 42, where you previously shown a video that you were told would be designated Exhibit 42.
I don't know if I was told it would be 42, but I've been shown some video clips, yes.
All right. And you watched it, recognized it, and believe it to contain an accurate excerpt of the original Milestone video downloaded under that case number, is that right?
Yes,
That Officer Kriegel exported?
correct.
Would you agree that the excerpt itself is a little zoomed in and captures various images from about 7:44 p.m. until 8:35 p.m. on the proffered exhibit?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, offer Exhibit 42.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
42 is received.
All right, and I'm going to request to publish Exhibit 42, but before we do that, just to explain to the jury, what they will be seeing is something with which they've already seen a couple of times, milestone footage, I guess in that format, but there's no sound, is that right?
Correct.
And we're going to be playing a segment without sound or narration that will run from 8:08 p.m. until 8:14 and about 42 seconds. Right? And so I ask that that be published now. All right, we'll stop there. Thank you. Now, Lieutenant, I'd like you to take a look at Exhibit 1, please. We're publishing Exhibit 1. And do you see the, familiar with the intersection here, I'm assuming?
Yes,
Right? It's 38th and Chicago.
correct.
And you see the gas station marked Speedway?
Yes.
And do you see those small yellow icons, if you could zoom in, those yellow icons on the Speedway?
Yes.
Okay. What do those yellow icons mean?
They're cameras. One of them is our camera.
Okay. So, and if we could then just focus on the Speedway area, the two there. All right, so the perspective of that we were watching the milestone video is taken from one of the two cameras depicted in what we see in Exhibit 1, is that right?
Yes, the lower one.
The lower one on the corner of the store, that's why you catch the Speedway sign.
Yes.
Okay.
No issue.
Thank you. All right. If you could take that down, please. And now I'd like you to focus a little bit more on what you're doing these days in the business technology unit. All right. We know when you began in that job. Can you talk to the jury a little bit about what the business technology unit does with body-worn cameras?
So Minneapolis Police uses body-worn cameras. As of now, every sworn employee has a body-worn camera. My unit manages the program. So we are the primary point of contact with our body camera vendor, which is a company called Axon. When cameras are shipped to us, we set them up for use. We assign them to officers in the system. We make sure that officers are trained on how to use them. And we manage the back-end software, which is called evidence.com, where all the body camera footage is stored and retrievable and managed. And my unit also employs 2 full-time auditors who audit the body camera program to ensure that officers are following the body camera policy, that they're turning them on when they're supposed to, that they're doing the checks that they're supposed to, and that the system is working well.
And you're familiar with the Minneapolis Police Department body-worn camera policy?
Yes.
And this is something, obviously, in 1989, officers were not wearing body cameras. They weren't invented.
Right.
Right. When did body-worn cameras become more commonly used?
We started piloting them, I believe, in late 2015 or 16, and went with Axon after piloting several companies. The initial rollout was to patrol officers in 2016 and 17, and now we've finished rolling out to the entire department.
And Lieutenant, were you involved in the development of the body-worn camera policy and program?
Not so much in the development of it. I was at the SIC at the time.
In Minneapolis Police Department, body-worn camera policy is in the manual at 4-223, is that right?
Yes.
And at this time, I'm going to offer Exhibit 214, which is the body-worn camera policy 4-223.
No objection, Your Honor.
214 is received.
And we're not going to publish that now because it's a lot of reading, but if you could please.
Thank you.
Sure. But if you could just give us a very high-level summary of what the body-worn camera policy requires.
Sure. So it requires that officers working in uniform always wear their body-worn camera, that they have it on in a standby mode whenever they're working, and that they activate it and record video when they're responding to a call or when they're meeting with members of the public or any other time there could be anything that we might want to review later. And so it also mandates that investigators who work in plainclothes wear cameras when they're doing certain enforcement actions like.
Listen up, we are hiring. So if you are a salesperson, you're not making at least $15,000 to $25,000.
The sound doesn't kick in for a little bit. There's image, but there's no sound. Can you explain why that is?
When the cameras are on, but not activated. They're actually recording much like when you press the button to activate it, that kicks on the sound and it saves the previous 30 seconds of video without sound. Whatever caused you to turn on your camera would be captured because it was being recorded, and now the sound comes on when you activate it.
But there's safe to say there's nothing wrong with the camera and nothing wrong with the operator if the first 30 seconds is without sound. That's the way it's
Exactly as it's supposed to work.
Okay. And then can you tell us a little bit about what these cameras look like and how they're actually physically attached to the officer?
Sure, they're about the size of a deck of cards, a little black rectangle. There's a number of ways to wear them. Most officers use the magnetic mount, which is basically a pretty strong magnet that goes inside the shirt, and then a mounting plate that goes outside the shirt, and then the camera attaches to that mounting plate. So when the magnet is engaged, it's affixed. A lot of them wear it either in their shirt pocket or up on high on the chest, which is where they're supposed to wear it to capture a view of everything going on in front of them.
Right. And every officer is issued a body-worn camera. Is there a way to associate particular footage with a particular officer?
Yes, every camera has an electronic serial number, and when we issue a camera, we go into evidence.com and we find that officer in the roster and we say, this camera is assigned to this officer, and then that camera is linked to them until we remove that link.
And so much like you're able to do with the milestone, you're able to attribute particular footage to a particular officer at a particular time.
Yes.
And you've reviewed body-worn camera footage before, is that right?
Yes.
And is it generally a workable system? Does it capture what it's supposed to capture?
Very much so, yes.
And are you able to also associate particular footage with case numbers, just like with the milestone?
Yes, so when an officer is responding to an incident and records video, after the incident, we call it tagging. They tag their video with the case control number from the incident. And that way, when the video is uploaded into evidence.com, it is tagged as being associated with that case.
How long is the footage retained?
Depending on the type of video, the minimum retention is a year. For any sort of evidence thing, it's 7 years. And then for significant incidents, it could be indefinite.
And does Minneapolis Police Department provide body-worn camera footage to other agencies upon request if they're investigating a case, or a prosecuting agency if they're using that footage to prosecute a case?
Yes.
How does the MPD physically provide that footage to the agency?
The most common way is to set up a partnership within evidence.com. So for example, the county attorney, who uses a lot of our video, they have an account, they're a partner agency, and so we can share with them within evidence.com to give them access. And then they log in to the same system we are, and they can see the video we've shared with them.
Obviously, there were several police officers involved in the May 25, 2020 incident we were talking about, and Minneapolis Police provided a number of body-worn camera footage to the prosecuting agency and the BCA. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And are you familiar with the specific officers who responded to the scene of the incident that occurred from 8 o'clock in the evening to about 8:30 that Memorial Day?
Yes.
And would you agree that those officers included Officer Chauvin, Officer King, Officer Lane, and Officer Tao?
Yes.
And upon your review, does it appear that each of the four mentioned officers wore body-worn cameras during that incident?
Yes.
And you were able to associate it with the same case number you recited earlier, is that right?
Yes.
And this footage was uploaded and retained by the MPD servers, correct?
Correct.
You viewed some of the footage involved with the various officers?
Yes.
All right, this time I'm going to ask you to review a series of and to introduce and publish a series of body-worn cameras associated with particular officers in this case. And the first piece of footage that I'm going to ask you to discuss is it's marked for identification as Exhibit 47, and it is the body-worn camera footage of Officer Lane. At this time, I will offer Exhibit 47.
Any objection?
Subject to what we've discussed, Your Honor, no objection.
With that exception, it is received.
And at this time, I'll ask to publish Exhibit 47. And please hit pause. And if you could enlarge and highlight the time and date stamp, please. Oh, then I will use my glasses. All right, sir, just to draw your attention to the upper right-hand corner of the footage that you're seeing here. Are you able to see the date and time stamp?
Yes.
Okay, and it says 5/25/2020.
Correct.
Right, and the time is expressed in military time. Is that correct?
Yes.
So 20:07 would be about 8:07 p.m.
Yes.
and some change here you can see on the footage. Axon body, that's just simply the brand of the body camera, is that right?
Yes.
And then there's some serial numbers on the footage as well?
Correct.
Okay, and so again, this particular footage, Exhibit 47, is associated with Officer Lane based on the serial number that you see, and the footage begins at about 8:07, 58 seconds, is that right?
Yes.
All right, please continue publishing the exhibit. And this is that sound-free lag, right? There's no glitch here.
Right. 30 seconds in, the sound will kick in.
Gentlemen. Sorry. The driver in there?
Blue bed.
Oh, which one? The
Okay.
blue one over there. Which one?
Yep. Just head back in. They're moving around a lot.
Pause. And the record should reflect that the time noted here is 8:09 and about 27 seconds. Is that right?
Yes.
Please resume.
You see your hands.
Hey, man.
Stay in the car. Let me see your other hand.
I'm sorry.
Let me see your other hand.
Please, Mazal.
Both hands.
Do something.
Put your fucking hands up right now. Let me see your other hand.
All right. What I do though? What do we do?
Put your hand up there. Put your fucking hand up there. Jesus Christ. Keep your fucking hands on the wheel. Keep your fucking hands on the
Yes,
wheel.
sir. I'm sorry, Mazal.
Who else is in the car?
This is my
Put your
friend.
foot back in.
I'm sorry, Mazal. I'm so sorry. God dang, man. Man, I got shot the same way as I was before.
Okay, well, when I say let me see your hands, you put your fucking hands up.
I'm so sorry, Mazal.
You got him?
Man, dang, man.
Put your hands on top of your head.
Man, last time I got shot like that, I was
Hands on top of your head. Hands on top of your head. Step out of the vehicle and step away from me, all right? Step out and face away. Step out and face away.
Okay, so please don't shoot me. Please, man.
I'm not going to shoot you. Step out and face away.
I'm looking out of eye, man. Please don't shoot me, man.
I'm not shooting you, man.
Please, man. I just lost my mom, man.
Taking one out. Step out and face away.
So sorry.
Step out and face away.
Please don't shoot me, Mr. Officer. Please. Don't shoot me, man.
Step out and face away.
Can you not shoot me, man?
I'm not shooting you. Step out and face away.
Okay. Please. Please, man. Please. I didn't know, man.
Get out of the car.
I didn't know, Mr. Officer. I didn't know.
Put fucking hands right now.
Stop moving. Put your hands behind your back then. I'm not going to do nothing. Face in the door.
Get into the room.
Hey, you come back. Stay in the car. I'm sorry, Mr. Officer. I was on my knees. Whatever. Oh, man. Stop resisting, man. I'm not. Yes, you are. I want to let them know, man. Stand up. Please, man.
Against the wall.
Oh, me?
Yes.
What I doing?
We're figuring out what's going on. Drop the bag.
Figure out what's going on.
Adam,
What's the problem?
said something to him. It ain't us. We was getting a ride, sir. I just got my phone fixed. This is my accident. Adam knows me. This is my accident.
Are you good?
He keep coming. Get my car.
That's it, man.
You can ask Mr.
You got ID?
You can ask Mr. Adam about me.
Do you have ID?
I'm on 38th to Chicago.
Man.
320 we're code for.
You can ask Mr. Adam about me, sir. I just came to buy the tablet. And when I bought a tablet, he didn't work. Oh my God. He didn't even do nothing.
Sir. You have ID?
No, I don't. My
You got
name's
anything with your
Shawan
name on it?
Hill. No. Sir.
Okay.
I just came over to get my phone. You see, I don't have a purse or nothing.
Mr. Adam
And my
knows
daughter
me,
is on her
man.
way to get me.
What's his deal?
I don't
Mr. Adam
know.
knows me, sir.
That's my ex. I don't know.
Why is he getting all squirrely and not showing us his hands and just being all weird like that?
Because he's been shot before. He don't
Well, I
wanna-
get that, but still, when officers say get out of the car,
He got a thing going
is he
on.
drunk? Is he on something?
Oh, he got a thing going on. I'm telling you
What
about
does
the
that mean?
police. We have problems all the time when they come, especially when that man slipped that gun like that. It's been one.
What's your first name?
He's pretty good. George Floyd.
What is it?
He's a good guy. George Floyd, she said.
Can you spell that?
I don't know how to spell George, sir.
Her name.
My name is, my name.
Your name, yeah.
Renee Hill.
Can you spell it?
SHAWANDA.
S-H-A-W.
Yeah, right, sir.
Yeah, he okay.
Mr. Adam.
Just put him in the car.
Mr. Adam can
Shawanda what?
Hill. Renee, R-E-N-E.
What's your last name?
Hill.
And your date of
If
birth?
y'all coming to get me 127.75. Okay.
Okay, well, so here's the thing. Someone passed a fake bill in there.
Oh,
We come over here, he starts grabbing for the keys and all that stuff. Starts getting weird, not showing us his hands. I don't know what's going on, so you're coming out of the car. So just hang tight right here. Stay right here, please.
Ouchie,
What
man.
are you on something right now?
No, nothing. You acting
erratic.
Let's
go.
Yeah, man.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. Yes. Yes, I was just moving earlier.
Let's go.
Man, what up? All right, let me calm down now. It's feeling better now.
Keep walking.
Like, okay, you do me one favor, man.
No, when we get to the car, let's get to the car, man. Come on.
Dang, man. Oh, man. God, don't leave me, man. Please, man, don't leave me, man.
Here.
I
I want to watch that car, too, so get him in.
Stand up, stop falling down. Stand up. Stay on your feet and face the car door.
You get a search on him?
No. Please, can I talk to you, man? I just want to talk to you, man. Please, let me talk to you, please. Man, you ain't listening to nothing we're saying, so we're not going to listen to nothing you're saying.
Can you watch that car? Just make sure no one goes in it.
I hear you, but you are going to face the door right now.
Listen up, stop.
I'll do anything. Anything y'all tell me to do, man. I'm not a resistor, man. I'm not. I'm not. You can ask him. He know me, you know.
Check this side.
God, man, I'm gonna do nothing like that, y'all. Why is it going on like this? Look at my wrist, Mr. Officer. I'm not that kind of guy.
Other side.
Mr. Officer, I'm not that kind of guy.
Stop.
You please? I'm not that kind of guy, Mr. Officer. Please. Shut
Face
up.
away.
Please, man. Don't leave me by myself, man. Please. I'm just claustrophobic. That's it.
Well, you're still going in the car.
Anything sharp on you? I won't do nothing to hurt y'all, Mr. Officer. No, sir.
Now you like a comb or nothing?
Nothing, because I don't have nothing. Why y'all doing me like that, Mr. Officer? Please crack it through for me and stuff, man. I am claustrophobic for real, Mr. Officer.
You got him?
Could you please crack it for me, please?
Yes, I'm
Remember my name.
cracking.
Stay
I
with me,
will.
man.
I will.
Please stay with me, man. Thank you. God, man. I didn't know all this was gonna happen, man. Please, man. I just want my hands free. I don't want to do none of y'all, man. Nothing.
You got it?
Inside of your pocket real quick on your shirt.
I'm listening. And I understand that people do stuff and
All right,
y'all
he's
know
good.
me.
That's guns. Whatever. No, nothing wrong.
Okay.
Grab a seat.
Okay.
having trouble
Because that was my client.
I'll roll the windows down, okay?
Please, man. Please don't do that. Take a seat. I'm going in, Mr. Officer. I'm going in. No, you're not. I gotta go in.
Take a seat.
Grab a seat, man.
Man, y'all don't believe me, Mr. Officer.
Take a seat.
I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that kind of guy, man.
Take a seat.
Y'all, I'm gonna die in here.
Take a seat.
I'm gonna die, man.
You need to take a seat right now.
And I just had COVID, man. I don't want to go back to that.
Okay, I'll roll the windows
No.
down. Hey, listen.
Dang, man.
Listen.
I'm not that kind of guy.
I'll roll the windows down
Please,
and you pull your
man.
legs in, all right?
Y'all
I'll keep the air on.
stop. Look at that. Look at that.
Not even
Look,
listening.
look at it. Look at it.
We can fix
Look.
it, but not while you're standing out
Okay,
here.
man. God, y'all do me bad, man. Man, I don't want to try to win. I don't want to try to win. I don't want to win. I'm claustrophobic. I'm claustrophobic. I got anxiety. I don't want to do nothing to
I'll
them.
roll the window down.
Man, I'm scared as fuck, man. When I start breathing, it's gonna go off on me, man.
Pull your legs in.
Okay. Let me count to three. Let me count to three and I'm going in. Please. I'm not trying to win. I'll get on the ground, anything. I can't stand this shit, man. He know it. Okay, can I talk to you, please?
If you get in this car, we can talk.
I'm claustrophobic.
I'm hearing you, but you're not working with me.
God, I'm claustrophobic, man.
Come on over here. I'm going to pull you
Get in
in.
the car.
in the front, please.
No, you're not getting in the
I'm
front.
claustrophobic, Mr. Officer.
Get in the car.
Okay, man, okay. I'm not a bad guy,
Man,
man.
get in the car.
I'm not a bad guy. Man, please, officer. Please, please.
Take a seat.
Please, man. Please. No.
Take a seat.
I can't choke. I can't breathe, officer. Please.
Okay, fine.
My wrist, man. Please. I can't take it, man. I can't. I'm gonna lay on the ground.
Getting in the squad.
I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm going down. I'm going down.
Hit me in the squad.
I'm going down. I'm not going to breathe. I know I can't breathe.
Take my oxygen back.
I just had COVID, man. I can't breathe. Please, man. Please listen to me.
Do you want to jail?
Listen to me.
He's under arrest right now for forgery.
I can't.
Okay, go through what's going on.
For what?
Take him out and just
For what?
MRE.
Please, man. I can't fucking breathe.
Here, come on out.
Look at you. Thank you.
Yeah, just when you get up the.
On the ground.
I appreciate that. I do.
You got your restraint? Hobble.
That's breathe. I can't breathe. Jesus Christ. I can't breathe.
Thank you.
Stop moving.
Mama.
Yeah,
Mama.
stay off.
Mama.
One of the front pouches
Mama.
on my right side bag.
Mama.
Get EMS go too.
You're an arrest guy.
All right. Oh my God.
Sorry, go to
I
jail.
can't believe this. I can't believe this, man. Mama, I love you. Reese, I love you.
You got hobble?
My kids, I love them. I'm dead.
Mine's in my side. It's listed. It's labeled. It says hobble. It's on the top.
I can't breathe for nothing, man. It's cold-blooded, man. Ah, ah, Mama, I love you. I can't do nothing. My face is gone. I can't breathe, man.
Okay.
Please.
All right.
Please let me stand. Please, man, I can't breathe.
You get up on the sidewalk, please. One side or the other, please.
My face get up bad.
Here, should we get his legs up?
Oh, my
That's good.
God. Oh, my God.
All right. Hopefully Park's still sitting on the car. They were.
Look at my
He
face,
was acting
man.
very shady like Sean was in there. I'm assuming so. He wouldn't get out of the car. He wasn't following instructions.
Please.
Yeah, it's across the street. Park's watching it.
Please.
2 other people with
Please,
him.
I can't breathe. Please, man. Please, somebody help me.
You can probably step it up then. You got it?
Sir, showing you at 20, 21, and 25 seconds, so 8, 21, and 25 seconds. Based on your experience and training, do you have an opinion as to what that item is?
That's a body cam.
Please resume.
Please, man, somebody help me. Relax. I can't breathe.
You're talking.
You're talking fine.
Deep breath.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. My body's just tired of this. Relax. Man, I can't breathe my face. Just get up.
He's got to be on something.
What do you want? I can't breathe. Please, the knee in my neck. I can't breathe shit. I will. I can't move.
That is.
Mama.
You found a weed pipe on him. There might be something else with it. Might be like PCP or something. Is that the shaking of the eyes, right? Is PCP?
My knee. My neck.
Or their eyes like shake back and forth really fast?
I'm through. I got the movie. My stomach hurts. My neck hurts. Everything hurts. There's water or something. Please. Please. I can't breathe, officer. They will kill me. They will kill me, man. Takes a heck of a lot of oxygen. Come on, man. I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe. They'll kill me. They'll kill me. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. We tried that for 10 minutes. Please, please.
Roll him on the side. Okay. I just worry about the fed delirium or whatever.
That's probably really down what's coming.
Okay, that's false. Yeah, I think he's passing out.
that's cool, all right?
Please hold as the post is available if you could start for an assault at next door to 2313 Washington Street.
All right, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Not so far.
my knee might be a little scratched. I'll survive. He's breathing. Okay.
Don't come over here. Don't come over here.
Up on the sidewalk.
Yeah, we need you to keep some distance. Yeah, you gotta have them come up. Back off! Get up! Get off the street.
We're going on the side.
He's not responsive right now, bro. Bro, look at him. He's not responsive right now, bro. Bro, are you serious? He's gonna
Going.
Is he breathing right now? Check his pulse. Check his pulse. Check his pulse, Kyle. Kyle, check his pulse. Kyle, check his pulse, bro. No, check his pulse, bro. What is that? What do you think that is? So you call when he's doing okay? You call when he's doing okay. You call what you do. You call when he's doing okay, bro. Yes, I am. Okay, bro, you think that's okay? Check his pulse. Kyle, check his pulse. Check. The man ain't moved yet, bro. The man ain't moved.
When it comes to trimming your balls, always use the right tool for the job.
Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to
Not responsive right now. You guys might want to.
Right now. Get off of his fucking neck, bro. Get off of his neck. Yeah, look at that, bro. Are you serious? You won't keep it.
You get another car? Get another car just for crowd.
Let's get him on this. How you gonna let him kick that like that? You gonna let him kick that man in front of you, bro? Like what? Bro, he's not even fucking moving right now, bro. He's not even fucking moving, Just sit there with your knee on his head, bro. You a bro. Don't touch him.
Need this?
Let's go to 40.
You want one of us to ride with?
Yeah. Sir, drawing your attention then to what's been marked as Exhibit 43, which is the body-worn camera footage of Officer King. I'll offer Exhibit 43.
No objection, Your Honor.
43 is received.
Publish Exhibit 43.
Before they drive off, they park like you. This is a fake bill from the gentleman.
The driver in there?
Which one?
That blue one over there.
Which one? Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Something like that. All right.
Squad 320, we're going to be out with Minnesota BRJ, Boy Robert John 026 at 38th Street.
I'm right here, bro.
All right, here. I appreciate that, man.
I'm cool, bro. I ain't, that's your.
Put your hand up!
Let me get over here, sir.
No, you're going to stay right there for me.
Okay. Just us, man. Me and you.
Now you got one more back here.
It's a lady.
It's a lady?
Yes, sir. Female. Giving us a ride. Trying to get a ride.
It's her car?
No, it's his other friend car, sir. She giving her and I a ride.
Yeah. All right. So it's whose car? Your friend's car, you said?
It's his friend's car. Her name, I forget. Her name is I forgot her name, but I know his co-worker, and he was giving her and I a ride. This young lady right here.
Yeah.
And I a ride.
Okay.
And we were just waiting on him or whatever.
All right. You stepped here, or what stopped you here at Cup Foods?
I did business with Adam. I was trying to buy me a laptop.
All right.
And I did buy one, but it wasn't working.
Yeah.
So he gave me my change back. You can ask him. You can ask him.
Okay. Do you have your ID on you?
I can give one. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
I'm just mixing your this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I'm gonna stay right here, bro.
Yep, I appreciate that.
Please. I didn't know, man. But Adam knows me, bro.
Stay here. You take a seat in that car. In the car.
Yes, sir.
Stop moving.
I'm not gonna do nothing.
Put your hands behind your back then.
I'm not gonna do nothing.
Face in the floor. Hey, you come back. Stay in the car. Stop resisting, man. Yes, you are. Stand up.
Please, man.
Stand up for me.
I want to go back.
Stand up.
I want to go back, man. I ain't gonna do that wrong, man.
Come on, walk with me. Walk with me. Walk with me.
My feet, man. God damn, man.
Stand up.
Why you doing me like this?
Stand up.
God damn,
Come on.
man. I just want to stop doing it.
We're trying to get out of the street here so you don't get hit by a car.
That's it, man. I was looking, man. But I ain't doing it wrong. That's all I'm saying.
Take a seat. Sit down for me.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, sit down.
Thank you, man. God.
Sit all the way down.
Yes,
Flatten
sir.
your feet out.
Yes, sir. I will. Hey, man. Please, man.
You got an ID on you?
I got one at home.
All right, what's your name?
George.
George?
George Perry Floyd. I don't know what's going on. Man, that's it.
Spell it for me.
G-E-O.
Yep.
R-T-E.
Last name?
Floyd. Yeah, man. F-L-O-I-D.
F-L-O-Y-D?
Yeah.
Date of birth?
And last time I got Tim, October 14th.
October 14th?
73. Man, I got shot last time. Same way, man.
If you mind doing me a favor, just run this
Nah,
guy
man.
for me. George Floyd. Thank you.
Man, he was looking for something. I don't want no problem. I ain't gonna do nothing.
Man, you know why we're here?
Why?
We're here because it sounds like you gave a fake bill to the individuals in there.
Yeah.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
And do you know why we pulled you out of the car? Because you was not listening to anything we told you. Right, but I didn't know what was going on.
You listen to us and we will tell you what's going on, all right? When you're moving around like that, that makes us think way more is going on than we need to know.
Right. And that's all I had was officers.
Gotcha, all right. We're going to put you in the back of a squad, all right?
So can I talk to you?
Yeah, we're going to sort all this out, all right?
Please, man.
That's your car key?
It's my sister.
Key fob right there?
Yes, sir. Man, I got one problem.
Yeah, I'm going to hold on to that for you, all right? Stand up.
Please, man. All right. Can I take you over here? I was so messing with us. I was like right now. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, and look at you still able to reach your side. You're making me nervous.
That's why I was feeling. I was looking at my wrist. Look at it.
Yeah, I got you. We'll fix all that. We'll fix all that, but you got to walk with me.
Oh,
What are you on something right now?
No, nothing.
Because you acting real erratic.
Man, I'm scared, man.
Let's go.
God,
You got
man.
foam around your mouth, too?
Yes. Yes, I was just moving earlier. Okay. Man, what up? All right, let me calm down now. This feels a little better now. All right, okay. You do me one favor, man.
And we're going to talk about that once we get to the car. Stop moving around.
Man. Oh, man. God, don't leave me, man. Please, man, don't leave me, man. Oh, please don't leave me, man.
Yeah, just unlock the door for me.
I just beat it thing.
Stand up. Stop falling down.
I'm claustrophobic, man.
Stand up.
I'm claustrophobic.
Stay on your feet and face the car door.
Please, man. Please.
No.
Please.
Not yet. Keep the door open. Keep the door
I don't
open.
want to talk to you, man. Please, let me talk to you.
Man, you ain't listening to nothing we're saying, so we're not going to listen to nothing you're saying.
I'm claustrophobic.
Face the door.
Please, man. I'm claustrophobic.
I hear you, but you are going to face this door right now.
Stop. I'll do anything. I'll do anything y'all tell me to, man. I'm not a resistor, man. I'm not. You can ask him. They know me, you know.
That side.
God, man, I'm going to do anything I get, y'all. Why is it going on like this? Look at my wrist, Mr. Olsen. I'm not that kind of guy.
Sit still.
I'm not that kind of guy. Please. I'm not that kind of guy, Mr. Olsen. Please. God. Please, man. Don't leave me by myself, man. Please. I'm just claustrophobic. That's it.
Got anything sharp on you?
I won't do no more job.
Do you have anything sharp on you?
Sir.
Not even like a comb or nothing?
Nothing. I don't have nothing. Why y'all doing me like that? I'm please, back and forth for me and stuff, man.
Stand up straight.
I'm claustrophobic for real, Mr. Olsen.
You got him?
Could you please crack it for me, please?
Yes, I'll
Run my
crack
hand.
it.
Stay
I
with me,
will.
man.
I will.
Please stay with me, man. Thank you. God, man. I didn't know all this was going to happen, man. Please, man. I just want my hands free. I don't want to do none of y'all, man. Nothing.
Okay, you get that inside in
And
the
I
pocket real
understand.
quick on your side?
Hey,
I'm
I'm
listening.
And I understand that people do stuff and y'all don't know me.
Take a seat.
Okay.
Why are you having trouble walking?
Because my hands
roll the
are
windows
hurt.
down,
We will,
okay?
please, man. Please don't do that.
Take a seat.
I'm going in, Mr. Olsen. I'm going
No,
in.
you're not.
I gotta go in.
Take a seat.
Grab a seat, man.
Why y'all don't believe me, Mr. Olsen?
Take a seat.
I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that kind of guy, man.
Take a seat.
No, I'm a diabetic.
Take a
I'm a
seat.
diet, man.
You need to take a seat right now.
And I just had COVID, man. I don't want to go back to that.
Take a
I'll
seat.
roll the windows
No.
down. Hey, listen.
Dang, man.
Listen.
I'm not that kind of guy.
I'll roll the windows down and
Please,
you pull
man.
your legs in, all right?
Y'all
I'll put the air
treat me.
on.
God, look at that.
Look, you're not even listening.
Look at it.
We can fix it, but not while you're standing out
Okay,
here.
man. God, y'all do me bad, man. Man, I don't want to try to win. I don't want to try to win. I don't want to win. I'm claustrophobic.
You ain't gonna win,
I'm claustrophobic. I got anxiety. I don't want to do nothing to them. Man, I'm scared as fuck, man.
You made a mistake somewhere.
When I start breathing, it's going to go off on me,
Get in
man.
there.
Pull your legs in.
Okay. Let me count to three. And I'm going in. Please.
You can't win.
Please, I'm not trying to win. I'm not trying to win. I'll get on the ground, anything. I
Get in the car.
He know it. He know it too, Mr. Officer. Y'all hear me? Don't do me like that, man.
Get in the
Please.
car.
Okay, can I talk to you, please?
Yes, you get in this car. We can talk.
I am claustrophobic.
I'm hearing you, but you're not
man.
working with me.
God, I'm claustrophobic, man.
Get in the car.
Here, I'm gonna pull you.
Get in the
Can you
car.
put me in the front? Please.
No, you're not getting in the
I'm
front.
claustrophobic, Mr. Officer.
Get in the car.
Okay, man, okay. I'm not a bad guy, man.
In the car.
I'm not a bad guy. Man. Put my knuckles. Please, officer. Please.
Sit.
Please.
Take a seat.
Please, man. Please. No,
Take a seat.
I can't choke. I can't breathe, officer. Please.
Fine.
My wrist, man. Please. I can't. I'm on the ground. I'm laying on the ground. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm going down.
Get in the squad.
I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm not going to leave. Bro, you locked down a heart attack. I know I can't breathe. Get in the car. I can't go, man. I can't breathe.
Take a seat.
Please, man. Please listen to me.
Is he going to jail?
Listen to me.
He's under arrest right now for forgery.
I tell you.
Can we figure out what's going on?
Forgery for what? Take him out. For what? Please, man. I can't fucking breathe.
Here, come on out.
Look at you. Thank you. Thank you.
Get him on the ground. Yeah, on the ground. On the ground.
My wrist. Right.
You got your restraint. Hobbled. Okay.
I can't breathe.
Grab that. Get him.
Jesus. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Thank you.
I can't breathe.
Stop moving.
Mama. Mama.
Yeah,
Mama.
it's in the,
Mama.
one of the front pouches.
Mama.
On my right side bag.
Mama. Mama.
You're the arrest guy.
All right. All right. Oh my God.
It's going to go to jail.
I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I can't believe this, man. Mama, I love you. Reese, I love you.
You got hobble?
To my kids, I love them. I'm dead.
Mine's in my side. It's listed. It's labeled. It says hobble. It's in the
I can't
top.
breathe for nothing, man. It's cold blooded, man.
You're doing a lot of
Mama, I love you. I can't do nothing.
Yeah, EMS is on their way.
My face is gone. I can't breathe, man. Please. Please let me stay in.
No.
Please, man, I can't breathe.
You get up on the sidewalk, please. One side or the other, please.
My face kinda bad.
Here, should we get his legs up?
Oh my God.
Nope, just leave him.
Oh
Just
my
leave him.
God.
Just leave him. Yep, just leave him.
All right.
I'm dead.
The park's still sitting on the car.
Look at my face, man.
I'm assuming so.
I believe so. We found a pipe.
Wouldn't get out of the car.
I ain't even
He
swear. Please.
Yeah, across the street, park's washing.
Please.
Two other people with
Please,
him.
I can't breathe. Please, man. Please, somebody help me.
You probably step it up then. You got it?
Please, man, somebody help me. Relax. I can't breathe.
You're doing fine. You're talking fine.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. My body just died this day. Relax. Man, I can't breathe my face. Just get up.
What do you want?
I can't breathe. Please, the knee in my neck. I can't breathe shit.
Get up, get in the car, man.
I will.
Get up, get in the car.
I can't move. Mama.
Put a weed pipe on him. There might be
Mama.
something so that might be like
I can't. I'm bent.
Is that the
Alright.
shaking of the eyes, right? It's PCP.
My knee. My neck.
Are their eyes like shaking?
I'm
back and forth
through.
really fast?
I'm through. I'm claustrophobic. My stomach hurts. My neck hurts. Everything hurts. Get some water or something. Please. Please. I can't breathe, officer.
You're doing a lot of talking, a lot of
They
yelling.
will kill me. They will kill me, man.
Takes a heck of a lot of oxygen to
Come on, man. I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe. They'll kill me. They'll kill me. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
We tried that for 10 minutes.
Leave.
Roll him on the side.
Stand put where you got him.
I just worry about the delirium or whatever.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's awesome.
It's hard to talk when you're there, bro. But it's hard to talk on the ground. You're in a bum right now. You can get him off the ground, bro. You can get him off the ground. You can get a bum right now. He enjoying that. He enjoying that shit. He enjoying that shit. He a fucking bum, bro. He enjoying that shit right now, bro. You could have fucking put him in the car by now, bro. He's not resisting arrest or nothing. You enjoying it. Look at you. Your body language is crazy. You fucking bum. What? Yeah, I already know that, bro. I trained with half of these bum ass dudes at the academy, bro. You know that's bogus right now, bro. You know it's bogus. You can't even look at me like a man because you a bum, bro. He's not even resisting arrest right now, bro.
I think he just wants to know.
He's breathing right now, bro. You think that's cool? You think that's cool, though, right? What's your...
Chauvin, the closest available if you could start for an assault at next door to 2313 Washington Street.
That's all right, though.
Yeah, I mean,
good so far.
My knee might be a little scratched.
I think that's cool, though, bro. You're a bum, bro. You're a bum for that. You're a bum for that, bro. You get mad. You see there, stopping his breathing right now. The dude's about to go out right now, bro.
He's breathing.
Bro. You just gonna choke him like that? What I know, I'm not scared of you, bro. You fucking pussy ass dude, bro.
Don't come over here. Don't come over here.
Up on the sidewalk.
Yeah, we need you to keep some distance. Yeah, you got an ambulance coming.
He's not responsive right now. He's not responsive right now. He's not responsive right now. He's not responsive right now, bro. No, bro, look at him. He's not responsive right now, bro. Bro, are you serious? He's gonna just sit here with that on his neck, bro? Is he breathing right now? Check his pulse. Check his pulse. Check his pulse, Tom.
12 and 220, suspect is sitting on the 20 to 30 years old. The victim is crying, and the suspect has a gun. He's going to the good and
what is that? What do you think that is? So you call what he doing okay? You call what he doing okay? You call what you doing? You call what he doing okay, bro?
Yes, I am from Minneapolis.
Bro, you think that's okay? Check his pulse.
Check his right
check his pulse. Check. The man ain't moved yet, bro. The man ain't moved yet, bro.
He's not Minneapolis.
Bro, you're a bum, bro. You're a bum, bro. You're definitely a bum, bro.
About 3:30, EMS at Portland and 36. They were advised to close.
Bro, he has not moved, not one time.
I've called 3. Acknowledge that.
Copy, I was just giving you their updated location there. Stay
He's not fucking moving. Bro, he was just moving when I walked up here. Bro, you just got back out here, bro. You just got back out here. Bro, he doesn't have to, bro, he's not fucking moving. Bro, what are you, 1087, bro? You're a bum, bro, or 987,
12 and 222, the suspect is leaving his in SUV. Unknown, going to 20 northbound. The victim is in the back of the bus. 12 copies, do we have
Right now.
Bro, he's not even fucking moving. Get off his fucking neck, bro. Get off of his neck. Yeah, look at that, bro. Are you serious?
Third precinct sergeant to acknowledge person with 936
Get what the car is.
Let's get him on this.
And we're going to stop playing at that point. If you can take the image off the screen, please. Sir, the way the body-worn cameras work, they have an internal microphone. Is that right?
Yes.
And it's located fairly close to the officer, and you can hear, even with background noise, officers having conversations in conversational tones. They don't have to yell at each other. Is that right?
Correct.
There was also a body-worn camera footage taken from the camera issued to Officer 2 Tao. At this time, the state offers Exhibit 49.
Any objection?
No objection.
49 is received.
And asked to publish 49.
Don't get in the car. He know it. He know it, superstar. Y'all hear me? Don't do me like that, man. In the car. Okay, I told you to please. You get in this car. We can talk. I am claustrophobic. I'm claustrophobic. You're not working with me. God, I'm claustrophobic, man. You in the car, man. Whatever you in the car. Get me in the front. Please. No, you're not getting in the front. I'm claustrophobic. I was in the car. Okay, man. Okay. I'm not a bad guy, man. Get in the car. I'm not a bad guy. You ain't gonna win. Oh, man. Please, please, please. Take a seat. Please, man. Please. No, I can't choke. I can't breathe, Bobby. Please. You're talking. Please. Sit down. Fine. My wrist, man. My wrist, man, please. Okay. Let me lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm not gonna run, man. Right. I know I can't breathe. I can't breathe. You're talking and you're not oxygen. Not breathe. I just had COVID, man. I can't breathe. Okay.
We're just gonna have to
He's under arrest right now for forgery.
I can't.
Don't know what's going on.
Let's take him out.
For what? Please, man. I can't fucking breathe.
Hey, come on out.
Look at you, thank you.
Lay him down.
Yeah, just so we get
On the ground.
I appreciate that.
Bro, you can't win, man. Now you worry.
Right.
You got your,
You guys got one?
strength.
Can't breathe. Okay. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Not moving.
Mama. Mama.
Yeah.
Mama. Mama.
One of the front couches.
Mama.
On my right side back.
Mama. Mama. All right. Oh my God. I can't believe. I can't believe, man. Mama, I love you. Reese, I love you. Get my kids, I love them. I'm dead. I can't breathe for nothing, man. It's cold-blooded, man.
There you go.
You're doing a lot of talking. Mama, I love you.
Are we calling for
I
EMS?
can't do nothing.
Yeah, EMS is on their way.
My face is gone.
Well, do you want to hobble at this point then?
I can't breathe, man. Please. Please let me stand. No. Please, man, I can't breathe.
Get up on the sidewalk, please. One side of the
My face is bad. Oh my God. I'm dead. Look at my face, man.
If I can divert you just to the top, 2114 Avenue.
I believe so. We
Priority
found a fight. I ain't using this. Please.
Across the street, parts washing.
Please.
Two other people with
Please, I can't breathe. Please, man. Please, somebody.
EMS coming code 3.
Probably step it up then.
EMS
Please, man, somebody help me.
Relax.
I can't breathe.
You're doing fine. You're talking fine.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't
He's
breathe.
talking, so he's breathing.
I'm about to just die, you see.
Relax.
Man, I can't breathe in my face. Just get up.
What do you want?
I can't breathe. Please, the knee in my neck. I can't breathe shit.
Well, get up, get in the car, man.
I will.
Get up, get in the car.
I can't move.
I've been wiping the whole. Get up, get in the car.
Mama.
Get up, get in the
Mama.
car.
I can't.
I'm
been.
Is that the
All right.
eyes like
My knee. My neck. I'm through.
I know you in
I'm
there, you
through.
didn't listen.
I'm claustrophobic. My stomach hurts. My neck hurts. Everything hurts. Get some water or something. Please. Please. I can't breathe, officer. They will kill me. They will kill me, man.
Takes a heck of a lot of oxygen. Bro, your feet on his neck, man. You get off the
Come on, man.
Yeah, that's raw right there, but his feet on his neck, man, bro. Yeah, you got your feet right on his neck.
I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe.
Tough guy. Tough guy.
What's that?
He's tough guy. He's not even resisting the rest.
You know how long you fought with him? He's being held down.
They'll kill me. I can't breathe.
This is why you don't do drugs, kids.
I can't breathe.
He's talking, so he's fine. Okay. We tried that for 10 minutes.
Bum ass shit, bro. That's some bum ass shit, bro. Y'all know that. You guys sit there with your knee on your neck, bro.
He's talking, he's fine.
Bro, he ain't.
Okay. All right, we're done.
You circle.
Okay, we're
like
done.
in a jiu-jitsu move,
We're done.
bro. You try
We're done.
his breathing right there, bro.
Okay.
Like, you don't think that what it is, bro? You don't think nobody understands that shit right there, bro? I trained at the academy, bro. That's some bullshit, bro.
You did. Okay.
Right,
Then you
that's
understand.
bullshit, bro.
All right.
That's bullshit, bro. You fucking stopping his breathing right there, bro.
Okay, he's talking. It's hard to talk when you.
Bro, but
it's hard to talk if you're
ground.
if
You're
you're not
right
breathing.
now. You can get him off the ground, bro. You can get him off the ground. You can enjoying that shit. He enjoying that shit. He a fucking bum, bro. He enjoying that shit right now, bro. You could have fucking put him in the car by now, bro. He's not resisting arrest or nothing.
Talking now?
You enjoying it. Look at you. Your body language explains it, you fucking bum.
Bro, get the fuck off of him.
But we already know that, bro. I trained with half of these bum ass dudes at the academy, bro. You know that's bogus right now, bro. You know it's bogus. You can't even look at me like a man because you a bum, bro. He's not even resisting arrest right now, bro.
Pass out.
That's what happens to the
He's
underground.
breathing right now, bro. You think that's cool? You think that's cool though, right? What's your badge number, bro? You think that's cool right now, bro? You think that's cool though, bro? You're a bum, bro. You're a bum for that. You're a bum for that, bro. You getting mad. You just sitting there stopping his breathing right now. The dude about to go out right now, bro. Bro.
Okay.
You just gonna choke him like that? Yeah, I know that's what you want to do. I'm not scared of you, bro. You're a fucking pussy ass dude, bro. What?
I'm a firefighter from Minneapolis.
Bro, look, well, you should check on him. He's not responsive right now.
Back off.
He's not responsive.
Get off the street before you
responsive
run.
right
Okay,
now.
then you know.
He's
Get off
not
the street.
responsive right now. He's not responsive right now, bro.
Does he have a pulse?
No, bro, look at him. He's not responsive right now, bro. Bro, are you serious? He gonna just let him sit there with that on his neck, bro? Is he breathing right now? Check his pulse. Check his pulse. Check his pulse, Tal. Tal, check his pulse. Tal, check his pulse, bro. Bro, check his pulse, bro. You bogus, bro. You bogus. Don't do drugs, bro. What is that? What do you think that is? You call what he doing okay?
Get back.
You call what he doing okay? You call what you doing? You call what he doing okay?
Are you really a firefighter?
Yes, I am from Minneapolis.
Okay,
bro,
then get on the sidewalk.
You think that's okay? Check his pulse.
Check his right
Child, check his pulse.
Get back on the sidewalk.
The man ain't moved yet, bro. The man ain't moved yet, bro.
Okay, where?
Minneapolis.
Okay,
bro, you're a bum, bro. You're a bum, bro. You're definitely a bum, bro.
All right, we'll stop publishing at 20:26:34. Officer Chauvin also had a body-worn camera, is that right?
Yes.
And based on your review, is that the box that we saw underneath the car at one point in the encounter?
Yes.
That is at Exhibit 44, offer Exhibit 44.
44 is received.
Request to publish 44.
Vehicle, Ilion Avenue.
Code 4. Copy, 320 South Code 4, 330 AP cancel, at 2012. Squad 310, copy yourself time to the property damage accident in 1924 Chicago at subway.
Alright.
I'm over 310. Copy.
Oh, shut up. Go get that.
All right, if you can take that down, please. Now I'm going to be asking you about some items that we will seek to admit without publication at this point. Officer Pluger is a sergeant at the 3rd Precinct. You're familiar with him?
Yes.
He was also issued a body-worn camera, and his footage is, there's footage that was captured of the incident that's offered as Exhibit 48.
No objection.
48 is received.
Then there's a number of still photographs that were taken from some of the footage that has been reviewed. I'm This time I'm going to offer these without seeking to publish, kind of in a group. For Exhibit 57, still photograph from Lane's body-worn camera at 20/30/41. Yes, sir. They don't. Is it on your thumb drive? I think in the first batch. One moment, Your Honor.
I can just take a look at it on there.
Or you can bring it up and. 57 is received.
Offer Exhibit 58, Lane's body-worn camera at 20/30/43.
58 is received.
Offer 59, Lane's body-worn camera 20/30/47.
59 is received.
Offer Exhibit 60, Lane's body-worn camera 20/30/59.
60 is received.
Offer 61, Lane's body-worn camera 20/31/32.
61 is received.
Offer 62, Lane's body-worn camera 20/33/12.
62 is received.
Offer 63, Lane's body-worn camera 20/34/11.
63 is received.
Offer 64, Lane's body-worn camera 20/35/08.
64 is received.
Offer 65, Lane's body-worn camera 20/35/20.
65 is received.
Offer 66, Lane's body-worn camera 20/37/18.
66 is received.
Offer 68, still from Tao's body-worn camera. No, this is not military time, 8/32/59.
That was 68.
That was 68, Your Honor.
68 is received.
Offer 69, Tao's body-worn camera at 8:32 and 6 seconds. I'm sorry, 8:33 and 6 seconds.
69 is received.
Offer 70, Tao's body-worn camera at 8:33 and 20 seconds.
70 is received.
Offer 71, Tao's body-worn camera at 8:34/48.
71 is received.
Offer 72, photograph from King's body-worn camera at 20:33/57.
72 is received.
Offer 74, Lane's body-worn camera 20:38/22.
74 is received.
Offer 195, still photograph from defendant Chauvin's body-worn camera at 20:18/18.
195 is received.
Offer 196, Tao's body-worn camera at 20:18/30.
196 is received.
Offer 197, Tao's body-worn camera at 20:18/40.
197 is received.
Offer 237, photograph from King's body-worn camera at 20:17/45.
237 is received.
Offer 238, defendant Chauvin's body-worn camera at 20:18/18.
238 is received.
Offer 239, Tao's body-worn camera 20:18/40.
239 is received.
Offer 240, King's body-worn camera at 20:19/27.
240 is received.
Offer 241, Lane's body-worn camera at 20:19/53.
241 is received.
Offer 242, King's body-worn camera at 20:23/50.
242 is received.
Offer 243, Lane's body-worn camera at 20:26/33.
243 is received.
Offer 244 King's body-worn camera at 20:26:55.
No objection.
244 is received.
Offer 245 Lane's body-worn camera at 20:28:23.
No objection.
245 is received.
Now to exhibit 248 Lane's body-worn camera at 8:27:41.
No objection.
248 is received.
Yes. And then one final body-worn camera exhibit to offer and for publication. That's relatively short, Your Honor. Exhibit 45 is another segment of Defendant Chauvin's body-worn camera.
Any objection?
No objection.
45 is received. May be published.
Seek to publish 45.
You can't win, bro. You can't win.
I'm not trying to win.
Go on, get in the car then.
I'll be on the ground, anything.
Go on, get in the car.
He know it. He know it too, Mr. Officer. Y'all hear me? Don't do me like that, man. Please. Okay, can I talk to you, please?
So you get in this car, we can talk.
I am claustrophobic.
I'm hearing you, you're not working with me.
God, I'm claustrophobic.
Get in the car.
Get in the car. Get in the front. Please.
No, you're not getting in the car.
I'm claustrophobic, Mr. Officer.
Get in the car.
Okay, man. Okay. I'm not a bad guy, man.
Get in the car.
I'm not a bad guy.
You ain't gonna win.
Oh, God. Man. Please, officer. Please.
Pull him in.
No. Take a seat.
Pull him in.
I can't choke. I can't breathe, officer. Please.
Fine.
My wrist, man. My wrist, man, please. No, I can't take that, man. I can't. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground, bro. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm not going to
And then we've reached the point where, based on your experience and observation, that the camera is now on the ground underneath the vehicle. Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I have no further questions.
Mr. Nelson? Your Honor, may we have a brief sidebar?
Yeah.
Your Honor, I have no questions for this witness.
All right, Lieutenant Rugel, you just have a seat. There's some other things we have to deal with. But members of the jury, we're going to excuse you for the night. And so we are going to be in recess as far as you're concerned until roughly 9:15 or 9:30 tomorrow. Simply follow the sheriff's deputy's instructions, and we will see you tomorrow. seated. All right, Mr. Nelson, did you want to proceed? Record should reflect we're outside the hearing of the jury for an offer of proof. Mr. Nelson.
Thank you. Your Honor, as we discussed previously, the state has shortened certain body-worn cameras. I have, as an offer of proof, more extensive copies of both the milestone as well as the body-worn cameras. For purposes of the offer of proof, I do have a few questions for Lieutenant Rugel.
Right, you may proceed.
Lieutenant Rugel, in terms of the milestone cameras, during the course of viewing them, we see the camera turning.
Yes.
Someone was operating that camera at that time, correct?
Correct.
So someone was monitoring the camera and they were the ones that were turning it?
Yes.
And then when you saved that footage, or when the MPD saved that footage, that was not something that was happening. It was recorded, essentially, right?
Right. Once it's recorded, you can't change it.
Now, as far as the clip that we saw, you'd agree that that's a shortened version of the entire piece of evidence that was gathered by the MPD?
Yes.
Now, in terms of the software capabilities of the milestone camera, you're familiar with how that operates?
Yes.
And you would agree that the software that runs the milestone is different than the software that was used to show that clip?
Yes.
Okay. For purposes, Your Honor, if we could show the witness or even display it since the jury is not out. But even in terms, this is what the player looks like for the milestone system?
Correct.
And you are able to go through this, excuse me, you were able to scroll through the time that was saved?
Yes.
The pink bar at the bottom, would that indicate the time that was saved?
Yes.
And anything that happened prior to that where it's black, or subsequent to that where it turns black again, would be gone, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, you can also, this player also has some other capabilities such as zooming, right?
Yes.
So we can actually take this and move the camera around. Correct?
Yes.
So it has like this compass rose that allows you to manipulate where the camera is, as far, or where the image is enlarged within the original video.
You're zooming within the video now,
right?
As opposed to with the camera.
Okay. You also have the ability here to play it in different speeds.
Yes.
Is that correct? So I could play it at as high as 16 times the original speed?
Correct.
So it goes much faster, as we see on the screen?
Yes.
As well as we could slow it down to as much of quarter time, right?
Yes.
All right. So if I just put this back to regular speed, and then scroll, for example, you can actually zoom this in or zoom it out, as we discussed earlier.
Yes.
As well as manipulate the angle to see as much of whatever was captured within the field of the camera's vision, right?
Yes.
All right. And the total time that you gathered was from approximately 7 o'clock p.m., I believe, until you said about 11?
I think that's what it was, yes.
All right, let's just verify. And so, as far as, scan this over here. 10 p.m.
Yes.
So from 7 to 10 to 3 hours, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, with respect to the body-worn cameras, does the MPD also maintain the, we can turn the screen off, Your Honor. Does the MPD also maintain body-worn camera footage for the Park Police? Or does Park Police have their own unit that does that?
They have their own system.
In terms of the body-worn cameras, when an officer is on duty, there are certain circumstances under which they can shut them off as their, whatever the policy is, right?
Yes.
All right. And you're familiar with the policy?
Yes.
But there are certain times that officers are required to have them on as well.
Yes.
Right? And so an officer may, in the course of interacting with his partners or talking with various people, he or she may turn off the. And once the circumstances change and they're required to turn their camera back on, they hit it, and every time they turn it off and on, it creates a different segment of video. Is that
correct? With a buffer.
With a buffer, with a 30-second buffer each and every time.
Yes.
And so when we're watching the videos and we see that first 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden you see them hit it, and that's when the sound comes on. It actually goes backwards 30 seconds, right?
Right.
Okay, but sound would not be captured.
Not during the buffer, right?
The 30-second buffer. But so when an officer routinely handles a call and they go to save that body-worn footage, it's not always necessarily one continuous video segment. It may be several segments, right?
Correct.
And in this particular case, I believe with respect to each of the 4 officers thus far, there were multiple segments of each body camera, each officer's body camera.
I know more than one. I don't.
Right.
Sure. Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm not. I could look and give you the specific numbers, but so if we look at a file folder that has Mr. Chauvin's body-worn cameras and there were 3 segments, that would be representative of 3 times that he turned it off and on.
Yes.
And they all would have the same case number, and each officer may have more than one segment of time captured.
Yes.
All right. I have no further questions for the purposes of foundation. Your Honor, for the record, I have a flash drive for the court's consideration that contains the totality of the 4 officers' body cameras. It has the totality of the milestone system. Let me ask you one quick question, Lieutenant. I apologize. The milestone camera, in order to operate that, it appears from the instructions you actually need to save it onto the desktop of a computer. Are you familiar with that?
To operate it?
To run that player?
You mean downloaded video?
Yes.
To someplace, yes. You need to save it.
Okay.
You can save it to a thumb drive, and then we put it up into evidence.com.
Right. I guess what I'm saying is, like, when I get it, I got a specific instruction that I had to save it on my desktop in order to run the player. Have you heard that?
I believe I've run them from a thumb drive.
Okay. I wasn't able to do that.
Okay.
So for the court's consideration, I would suggest copying. You may find it easier to run the milestone if you save it onto your desktop. I would note, Your Honor, and I don't know if the state is intending to object as on foundational purposes, but it is the defendant's intent to call Peter Chang, the Minneapolis Park Police officer. On the thumb drive also is Peter Chang's body-worn cameras. If there are foundational objections, I would appreciate knowing that. Alternatively, you may want to view that if there are admissibility objections.
Are you going to object on foundation grounds?
I don't anticipate that, Your Honor. Let me review that issue, but I don't see a reason to object on foundational grounds, but substantively, there will be some objections.
All right, and when do you want to deal with this? Is for your case, correct?
It is for experts, both with respect to use of force considerations as well as medical issues.
All right. When would you like to actually argue this? Tomorrow morning, or
is today Wednesday?
Thursday or Friday is fine with me.
Could we do it Friday morning, Your Honor?
Sure.
And then
Let's do that Friday at 9 a.m. then.
At 9 on Friday?
Yes. I don't think it should take longer than that. Okay. Anything else for the record, though, before we adjourn?
Only that I'll offer the thumb drive as a court exhibit for purposes of consideration.
Yeah, we'll mark it as a court exhibit, essentially for an in-camera review or as an offer of proof pursuant to the motion to admit the entire.
And Your Honor, then just for the record, I think that this was initially posed as an objection to our exhibit, and you received that those exhibits subject to that objection. It seems that this is more of an affirmative offer in his case, and so I'd ask the court to overrule the objection and receive all of the exhibits we've offered today substantively.
With respect to the objection that I did make earlier, it was just to note I have no objection to the court receiving those items formally, but I would also be offering these.
All right. I'll receive all the exhibits that were provisionally received as formally received, and we'll deal with the admissibility of the new court exhibit and its components on Friday at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Your
All right. Anything else for the record?
No, not for the state. Thank you.
Lieutenant, thank you. Thank you. You can step down. All right. We're adjourned until, do we need 9 o'clock? Let's do 9 o'clock tomorrow just in case any motions pop up in the meantime. 9 o'clock tomorrow, 9:30 for the jury is most likely. Thank you.